Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you're all good. And first of all, congratulations to all of you for your wonderful 8th result. And thank you as well for cooperating with the teachers. So, and we started with our new session of 9th standard. And madam took for you the first chapter, cell. And what all you all have discussed the cell components, the various cell organelles, about the phenomena like osmosis and diffusion, and also about the conditions in hypertonic and hypotonic media. So, what is a cell? You all have learned cell is a fundamental and structural unit of a life. For unicellular organisms, a single cell is enough to perform various functions. But coming to multicellular organisms, what happens to these cells? They undergo division. You also learned about the two types of divisions, mitotic and meiotic. So, why do these cells divide? Cells divide to form a large number of cells. Now, is the purpose only to form large number of cells? No. As the body becomes complex, the functions also are numerous to perform. Hence, these many cells are grouping together to form a group and to perform a certain function. So, your next chapter is dealing about tissues. So children, in chapter cells of 8th standard, you discussed about various types of cells. So these cells are doing certain specific functions. So what happens to these cells? They are going to group up, maybe similar or maybe dissimilar, but are assigned a specific function to perform. Now, as you have learned that the tissues undergo cell division to form numerous cells. So what happens? These are grouping, and once they group up, they are taking up a specific function permanently to perform. So this is also called as what? A differentiation. We will learn a little more about differentiation as we proceed further. So what are tissues? A group of similar or dissimilar cells that are assigned a specific function to perform. Now then, as we said, where do we find these tissues? In the higher multicellular organisms. Now when I say multicellular organisms, I include all the life forms, that is both plants and animals. Then, will the tissues be similar in both plants and animals? Will there be any difference? Definitely. Why the difference come? The difference comes due to various characteristic features. Now let us discuss what are the differences in terms of plants and animals, and that leads to the various types of tissues in plants and animals. So children, let us discuss what are the major differences between plants and animals. The first and the most visible difference between plants and animals is plants are sedentary. What is sedentary? That means they are fixed at one place, they are non-motile, whereas animals move. Now, does this motility in animals serve any purpose? Yes, they move. Why do they move? They move in search of shelter, in search of food. So, the difference in their movements makes a difference even in their tissues. So, plants are sedentary and animals are motile. This is one visible difference. Apart from it, another important difference which you have learned in your previous standards, that is plants are autotrophic, animals are heterotrophic. That means plants can prepare their own food. So definitely the tissues will be entirely different in plants when compared to animals, because they have to satisfy the kind of function which they are performing. That is, as they prepare food, they have specialized cells and tissues. Similarly, animals, since they do not prepare food, they have specialized cells and tissues to obtain or procure food. And then the another difference is energy requirements are low. Why they have less energy requirements? Two main reasons. One, they do not move from one place to another, and second, they are not going to search their food. Instead, they prepare their own food. So this makes the energy requirements in plants very less, whereas in animals the energy requirements are very high due to the demand of movement of body from one place to another, and also in the process of digesting the food. Then another difference, plant. Growth is limited to particular region. If you have seen a plant, growth of a plant, you must have seen the plant grows in a very haphazard manner. You cannot say that a particular part of a plant will grow in a definite pattern. The same kind of neem tree will be growing in different manners, will be in different shapes and sizes in different regions. But come to animals, the growth is uniform. That means the body, every body part grows in equivalent proportion. Only the size may vary, otherwise the animal, or maybe two dogs, maybe two elephants will always look alike, as the growth pattern is very much uniform. Then another most important difference is they have a less complex body design, whereas animals have a very highly complicated body design because they have extra and highly advanced physiological functions to perform. So children, you have seen some of the major differences between plants and animals. The two most important differences: plant being sedentary, animals being motile, and plants being autotrophic, animals being heterotrophic. So hence, these major differences lead to difference in the kind of the tissues which are found in plants and animals. So obviously, since plants are sedentary, as they do not move from one place to another, the plant body contains both dead tissues and the living tissues. Now, what is the job of these dead tissues? They are going to be supportive and protective in function, and also they provide mechanical strength. As we go in detail further, we will be talking about it later. But whereas in animals, as we said, they have to locomote from one place to another. So can a dead cell perform this motility function? No. So hence, they have most of the living cells. Even if dead cells are there, there may be very few. Like in case of man, we can say nails and hair, but majority is your living cells, which help them to perform physiological functions and as well as supportive and protective functions. Then coming to another major difference between plant and animal tissues is, plant has two kinds of regions. One, a dividing region and a non-dividing region, or rather we can say two kinds of tissues, the dividing tissues and the non-dividing tissues. Now these dividing tissues are located in one specific region, which help in the increasing the number of cells in the body and ultimately the growth. But coming to animals, you don't have the dividing cells being present in only one. If you take up your own body of our own, we don't have dividing cells only in our head, or maybe for that matter even in our arms. They are present in almost every part of our body. Thereby the body grows in a uniform manner. Then coming to plant, the tissues of plants are very less complex. Even a very highly developed plant will have a lesser complex tissues when compared to animals. Coming to animals, animal tissues are very more complex in nature. So today children, we have discussed about the introductory part of the chapter tissues, where we have discussed about the differences between plants and animals, and hence the differences between the plant tissues and the animal tissues. In the coming session, we will be discussing in detail regarding various kinds of plants and animal tissues. Thank you.